Welcome to What's Up, Doc, a podcast by Miramont Wellness Centers in Fort Collins, Colorado. Hosted by Dr. John L. Bender, MD and CEO of Miramont Wellness Centers. Our mission at Miramont is to empower your community and yourself to achieve healthcare and wellness aspirations anywhere in life.
Hello, and welcome back to a wonderful and exciting session of What's Up, Doc. I'm your host, Dr. John Bender.
And I'm Janessa Hanna.
And we are here to discuss some of the more recent changes happening in the worlds of GLP-1. What are glucagon-like peptides? Well, these are those skinny shots that put people into ketosis. The two most common that we're seeing compounded are Semaglutide and Tirzepatide. Up until mid-May of 2025, there was a national shortage of these medications, and compounding was being performed by and large across the country. Now there are some new rules put into place after a court order and some guidance from the FDA. So let's take a moment to visit about that. Some people do not tolerate GLP-1s. Can you believe that, Janessa?
I know. It is sad, but luckily we have some new option.
Well, what are some of the more common side effects that you see with GLP-1s?
Yeah, so most commonly I hear of nausea, or like we like to call it queasiness. Acid reflux can kind of be increased a little bit on these medications, constipation, fatigue. All of those are very common side effects.
So recently I spoke with one of our clinical pharmacists and I said, what can we do to help patients with this queasiness? Because some of them are just not tolerating the brand name products that are out there on the market. And they're not losing weight, they're getting the worst of both worlds, no ketosis, and they're having side effect. And it turns out a very simple additive, B6, vitamin B6, when compounded with Tirzepatide or Semaglutide and then injected weekly, can oftentimes make the difference for allowing someone to tolerate these medications, get them into ketosis so they're losing weight, and be able to tolerate the side effect.
Right. And it's very exciting because, some people really struggle to lose weight. These medications are sometimes the only answer for them. And if they're having a hard time tolerating it, then that makes it kind of tricky. So we're very excited about these new options to help people tolerate their medication to get to their goals.
One of the genius parts of B6, did you know, Janessa, that is a medicine commonly used by obstetricians for morning sickness? So it's safe in pregnant women, for example, safe for a developing baby. It's a vitamin. It's common in many multivitamin supplements. And you might say, well, why can't I just take a multivitamin? Well, the amount of B6 in this injection is going to be quite a bit more potent. It's getting directly into your system, bypassing the gut. And so we see higher concentrations. Also, some people might vomit a pill if they're that nauseated. If you do an injection of the B6, we don't have to worry about you losing the B6 for that particular reason. And so it's guaranteed absorption. It's just a very sophisticated, handy way to deal with that particular complication. The other concern people have is fatigue. Can we talk a little bit about the fatigue from the brand name GLP-1s that are out there?
Absolutely. We see a lot of fatigue because your liver puts you into ketosis, which can sit on your transit time of your gut, which can make you tired. And that is really tricky for those, for our emergent workers like firefighters, EMTs, nurses. And it's also trivial for our truck drivers. And when you're that tired, you're driving or you're, helping other people, it's really hard to do your job and to try to stay awake. So that's one of the concerns that we've had with the fatigue aspect, for sure.
You've hit the nail on the head. Most people on these medications are working, they have jobs they have to do, and it can be difficult if you're in ketosis. The brain likes glucose. We've talked about that in previous podcasts. And when you're living off of ketone bodies like beta-hydroxybutyrate, the brain doesn't feel as good. And so again, I spoke with our clinical pharmacist and said, what can we do about the fatigue that we're seeing? And they recommended adding L-carnitine and B12. B12 is cyanocobalamin. It's a vitamin, again, that is very popular. Some people inject it for fatigue, generally not covered by insurance, but it's an inexpensive remedy. L-carnitine is also an active compound that helps with fatigue and helps restore some energy to the body during ketosis. It's safer than maybe some other things that we've come across, and it compounds nicely. This is a remedy that in certain circumstances would allow for compounding to be delivered to a patient. And we now have L-carnitine and B12 available with both our Tirzepatide and Semaglutide products.
Yes, we do. And it's very exciting. Also adding the B12 and L-carnitine into your Tirzepatide or Semaglutide will make your medication actually colored. So it's easier to see when you're drawing it up, which is also a benefit for some people as well.
You know, you're so right about that, Janessa, because we do have some folks, you know, if their eyesight's not very good or they can have difficulty telling, is it a bubble, is it liquid? This medication is expensive, we don't want it to be wasted. And having just a little bit of that red tint can make it so much easier for people to see if they're at 0.2 or 0.4 or 0.6 mLs when they're doing their dosing on the syringe.
Absolutely.
Well, that's all the time we have. We appreciate you joining us. Again, I'm Dr. John Bender.
And I'm Janessa Hanna.
And we'd like to thank you for joining us with What's Up, Doc. See you next time.